Okay, so the first question comes from Nisha. It says, how can I improve my spelling mistakes? Sure, so spelling is important for obviously the writing test, but very important for the reading and the listening tests as well, because if you are getting some of those questions wrong, it could be because of spelling. So it's very, very important. So what you can do is you're probably going to be practicing your writing anyway. So why don't we use that opportunity to help us improve our spelling at the same time? So when you are practicing your writing, so you're going to be writing task 1, task 2, whether it's Microsoft Word or Google Docs or whatever it is you're using, turn off the spell check. So the thing, the little squiggly line that appears when you've spelled something incorrectly, or some of them even automatically correct your spelling. Those are helpful, but they are also a hindrance because they're too helpful. They're spoon feeding you. So once you've completed your essay, turn the spell check system on, whatever it is, and that will highlight all the words that you've spelt incorrectly. Then what you do is set up a new document, so it could be a Word document or Google Docs, where you're going to put all your misspelt words. So you're going to copy and paste as they are misspelt into this new document. And then if you do that over and over again, you will start to have multiple words that you spelt incorrectly. And you'll start to see patterns. So there'll be different spelling patterns and different types of words that you will notice that you have a problem with. So what you can do in that case is you can spot those patterns, and then you can fix them. So take each of the spelling mistakes and fix them to the correct one, and you'll start to notice that there will be groups of words or groups of spelling patterns that were your weak areas, and that you've now turned those into strengths. And if you do that consistently, your spelling will really improve. So it's about, like everything we teach on the VIP course, it's about being as strategic as possible. And if you do that, you'll really, really improve. Okay, so next is a question from Gina. I always get 28 out of 30 score in reading. What is your advice? Okay, so if you're always getting 28 out of 30, again, thinking as strategically as possible. So you're getting 10 to 12 questions wrong. Those 10 to 12 questions that you're getting wrong are the ones that you need to be laser focused on, because they will tell you why you are not getting those correct. They will give you the information. All the information is contained in the wrong answers. So what do I mean by that? So let's say you do a test and you get 10 questions wrong. Do another test, do 3 or 4 tests. So you said that you keep getting 28 out of 30. So I assume that you have like 3 or 4 tests, practice tests already done. Look at those and categorize the mistakes. So what do I mean by that? So you need to look at each of your mistakes and think very deeply, like this is a worthwhile use of your time. A teacher can't do this for you. Only you can do this. A teacher can't think about why you made the mistake. Only you can. Look at each mistake and think about why you made that mistake. Now, it might be very obvious, such as spelling or grammar or word count. It might be really, really obvious. Or it might be less obvious. So it could be related to strategy. You just haven't learned the strategies correctly. You're not applying those correctly. It could be vocabulary. You didn't understand where, the difference between 2 words, or where the answer was located. It could be related to reading skills. You are not good enough yet at skimming and scanning and close reading. But you have to do that work to find out what those are. Or it could be that you're getting only the last 10 questions wrong, and all the first ones are a problem. Or it could be that you are getting particular types of question wrong. What do I mean by that? Excuse me. Imagine that you always are getting all or most of true, false, not given and matching headings incorrectly. are incorrect. That's obviously a problem with those particular types of question. Then what you need to do is you need to look at the data and categorize and find out what are the common issues, what are the common weaknesses. So let's say, for example, 50% of your wrong answers are because of spelling mistakes. That's great, because we can then fix your spelling and get a higher score. Or let's say that nearly all of your questions are related to your mistakes or related to vocabulary. That's great, because then we improve your vocabulary and improve your score. But you need to find out what those common mistakes are first, and then we can attack those problems. So that would be your task. That's going to take you a few hours to get your head around, but it's going to mean the difference between getting the score you need and not getting the score you need. So go and do that, and then email me and we can talk about how to attack those weaknesses. But please do not do that, or please do not try and do it really quickly and be like, I think it's spelling, or it's maybe this or maybe that. Find out what it is. Good question, Jean. Chris, I want to be able to improve my synonyms, as I believe it's very important in almost all IELTS aspects. You mentioned there are 2 types of synonyms. How can we pick the most accurate synonym to a word so that I can be 100% sure it's the word that I'm looking for? So the 2 types of synonyms that I talk about are close synonyms and loose synonyms. So if you go on to Google and type in a word, just looking at the closest book that I can find has the word management in it. So if you go onto Google and type in management synonym, you'll find a bunch of words in the thesaurus, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There are 19 synonyms on the thesaurus. Now, some of those are close synonyms. You can use them directly in an essay. Some of them are loose synonyms. They kind of mean the same thing, but if you put them into an essay, they wouldn't really mean the same. So what happens is people are looking at an essay, or they're writing an essay, and they see a word, and instead of actually thinking about, is this actually a synonym that I can use, what they do is they go in and they try. Bye-bye. See you later.
See you later too.
Love you.
Love you too.
What they do is they that was Tom, by the way. That wasn't any, one of the team members. So what they do is they'll go in and they'll just Google the word and then look it up, and they'll pick randomly without really thinking about it. So to answer your question, how do you know the difference between a close synonym and a loose synonym, is to really know what those words mean 100%. Which is why I always say, when you're recording vocabulary, what you have to do is you have to record everything about that word. The synonyms, the antonyms, the collocations, the type of the word, example sentences, pronunciation, because you really need to know what that word means and how it is used. That's why I also say to learn vocabulary in context, because if you don't learn the word in context, you will never really know what it means. So that's why I encourage people to learn vocabulary by reading and listening. So in order to improve your effectiveness of telling the difference between close synonyms and loose synonyms, is improve your general vocabulary. And don't take risks. Don't use words you don't fully understand. So if you don't know, don't use it. All right? Ali. Good question, Ali. How can I overcome being very nervous, especially in the speaking test? So when it comes to performance in the speaking test, people say they're nervous or they're stressed out. What they're really saying is that they have fear. It's all about fear. So they are afraid of 2 things. Number 1, they are afraid that they won't get the score that they need. And number 2, they're afraid of the uncontrollable. So getting an examiner that they don't like, or getting questions that they're unfamiliar with, or not knowing what to say in a certain situation. So fearful of having no control over the process and getting the unexpected, and fear that they won't get the score they need. So there are those two problems. There's a very easy solution to those problems. Prepare properly. So if you prepare properly, i.e. complete the speaking course, do the one-on-one speaking test, get feedback, take action on your feedback, prepare properly, practice properly. Number one, you won't be afraid of the score you get, because you know that you're going to get the score that you deserve. And don't do the test until you're ready, by the way. And we will tell you when you're ready, because when we're doing the one-on-one speaking mock test with you, we're going to give you your scores. So if you need a 7 and we tell you you're going to get a 7, do the test, you'll be fine. If we say you're not going to get a 7, don't do the test. And obviously work hard to improve based on that. But also the second problem, fear of the unexpected, fear of not getting the right questions, that just goes away, because you've prepared to the point that it doesn't matter what the examiner is like, it doesn't matter what questions come up, it doesn't matter what happens, you're going to get the score that you need. So prepare to the point where you know that getting a whatever score you need is just a formality, and then you won't be nervous. And if you have any more questions, you can send me an email. Bye-bye.